This is the story of how I made a 68 song album in a year. I've been making music for about 20 years. I started when I was 13 writing songs, and my guitar teacher always told me, "You're gonna write hits one day, you're gonna write hits one day." And that never happened. I've written a lot of songs, thousands of songs, and put them on the internet, and of course no one listened to them. Story of my life. But making music to me has always kind of felt like a journal. It's like keeps track of my memories, keeps track of what I was doing at that time in my life, and like it's a way for me to express myself, stay in touch with my creativity, and really just give more meaning and myth to my life. It makes life seem grander than it actually is in a lot of ways. It gives it depth and an outlet for me to express my emotions. So I realized this about 3 years ago, that I needed to get back into music, because I took a hiatus where I just was not organized enough. I was going through adult stuff and just going through college and trying to find a job, and I kind of like had a rough patch and just was off and on. And then I decided, I'm just going to simplify this and make an album every year. One album each year. That's my entry into my journal. And this year was quite interesting. So I've been interested in improvised music for a long time. Probably almost 8 years or so, and I've developed a couple different systems for improvising music, using like an Electribe, using some older software I built for iPad called Beat Machine, and nothing was super satisfying for me. And I've always wanted to perform, but never been able to like really keep it together enough to like practice my songs over and over, and I would get bored of my songs and then I'd want to write new ones, and like I'm not the type of person who likes to play the same thing over and over. Even like talking about this album now, I'm kind of over it. Like I want to move on and create the next thing, right? That's how artists usually are, it seems. So I created this system, this software called Beat DJ, so that I could just show up and perform totally original music, improvised electronic music. I knew it wouldn't be that hard to actually create the music, because I used to busk and play drums, and I used to mess with drum machines and all that. I know creating techno is not that hard once you've been a musician for as long as I have. And so I made this software where you can basically create the beats and then send them to the audience and mix them in your headphones, and it's called Beat DJ. You create your song here on the left and right headphone channels like this, and then once you like them, you send them to the audience, and then the audience can hear whatever is up here. So I started performing like completely original music all the time with this. I was doing festivals all summer in Montana, and believe it or not, there's a huge music scene there in the summer, at least. In the winter it kind of goes dormant, I think, but it's still going pretty strong. But definitely the summers pop up, or the festivals pop up in the summer. So I played, I don't know, maybe like 10 shows or something. And then I took I went through every performance I did and pulled out the parts I liked and released that as my album. And not only did I release those improvised parts, but I also released some studio tracks like this track here. So the album is called Adventures of Goop. We can get into that now. There's 68 songs. It's only on Bandcamp right now because I was having some problems with distributors. They don't like it when you do over 30 or 35 songs, and they don't like, I don't know, it's just kind of a hassle to work with them to get it on Spotify and everything. I might be able to upload it as 2 albums, part 1 and part 2 eventually. I tried it and it failed. Their software had a bug or something, and some of these tracks are like 17 minutes long, so it's like, you know, this one's 17 minutes, 14 minutes. It's like, I don't think their systems can like handle such a unique album. This one's 24 minutes. Yeah, so that was a little bit frustrating, but maybe I'll try it again. So let's skim through and listen to some stuff, and then I will explain more about the album, how it came to be. That's a very small taste of the whole thing there. And let me just describe like what this album's all about. So the title is Adventures of Goop, and if any of you are familiar with something called internal family systems, it's a sort of therapy that it seeks to describe people and help you through your problems as like a series of parts. So basically, when you go into a therapy session, your therapist will help you identify these parts inside you, like the little voices in your head basically, and it's sort of the energies that live in your body and stuff like that. And it's really an amazing way to think about yourself, because you can kind of like segment what's going on and break down things at a granular level. And I identified this part called Goop, which is my body energy, and it's sort of like, I envision it as this like black sort of oily goop inside me, and it fills my body when it's healthy, and it helps me kind of like, you know, stay fluid, and it's basically controls my body when I'm in the flow state and when I'm doing unconscious actions like tying my shoes or playing guitar, or like even doing like, you know, itching myself and stuff like that. It's working sort of on its own unconsciously, and I really got to know this part through dance and dancing at these festivals, and then some moments alone, sort of meditating. And I had like an experience where I got really close with Goop and got to feel its personality, almost like separate from mine. And I wanted to dedicate this album to him as a way to appreciate his whole life and his whole journey that he's been on with me, without me even knowing he existed, and like all the things he's been doing for me. So it's weird like that, because it's me, but it's also not me, and so I also just feel like when I'm at these festivals, in the woods, and I'm dancing, and that's really when he comes to life, and I get to experience him as, sort of like separate from me. So this is the album cover. This is a depiction of Goop. I collaborated with an artist, I White Plant, on Instagram. I really love his work and was super excited to have him help me create this album cover. So yeah, we talked about Goop and we talked about Beat DJ. A couple other things to talk about are the tuning and microtonality. So Beat DJ by default uses microtonal tunings. I became really curious about this because I've made music my whole life, and like none of my teachers ever told me anything about microtonal stuff. In fact, I would often ask them questions and they were clueless about it. And so I always knew somehow intuitively that the scales we were using were like not the whole picture, right? It's like you're painting with colors, but they're only giving you a limited number of colors, and eventually you're kind of just like, wait, there's something missing here, right? So like with microtonal tunings, you can do any frequency you want, arrange any tunings you want, and it makes a whole lot more sense to me than Western theory, just from being able to understand it at that level has really made music so much more fun for me. I was never huge on working with music theory anyways. I just played by ear mostly, but this gives me a different framework that makes a lot more sense, like thinking about music from first principles. So all of that's baked into Beat DJ. The tuning is synchronized with the BPM, so like when you're dancing, there's no conflicting waveforms. Like, it's just crazy how much people don't know about music and like just go on and act like it's totally fine. Like, so many people think that it's a waste of time to go to this level of detail with their music, because they think it's not perceivable and yada yada. I can't understand that. I can't understand how people can do that, but the reason I was able to create 68 songs, I think, really is just because Beat DJ is like a super intuitive workflow for me, especially because I built the software. It's like, I can give you a little example. I can just create music so quickly with it. Yeah, that's something I've wanted to be able to do my entire life. Like, I just want to think, about music and have it appear, basically. I think every musician loves that. Um, so, and just being able to work with the randomness of all the samples I have, it's so fun. And just, it's a breeze to make music. And like, this was one of the easiest albums I've ever made, honestly, because of the workflow is so nice. Like, a lot of the songs, I of course made them as they were being created, or I recorded them as they were being created. So most of them only took the length of time it took. The length that they are is the length of time it took to make them. And then the other ones that aren't improvised, like these ones that don't have the live improv on the title, those ones all took an hour or less. And a lot of them were I just made kind of on accident when I was testing Beat DJ, and then I was like, oh, I should just finish this song. So that's what I love about this system, is like, I just express myself, and I'm creative, I'm messing with all these sounds, I'm mixing them together, and it's not like a slog, A lot of music software can feel like a slog because you're just clicking so much, and then like every time you edit something you have to stop the playback, and it like interrupts the flow, and it's not as quite like an instrument. Of course you can play instruments like you could play with your keyboard and have it looping, there's different methods where you can get into a flow, but nothing I have tried has been quite as satisfying as using Beat DJ. And that's really how I was able to create such a huge album, with having a lot of fun, and I think that when you're capturing these moments like live, when I'm improvising and there's like people around me and I'm like in the woods, what I'm creating, if you know anything about like emergent behavior and stuff, or emergence, you get all of these chemicals reacting in this place, and then what comes out of it is totally unique. Like, you can't replicate that. It's like why some musicians definitely know this, when they like a crazy experience happens to them and they just want to get in the studio right away to like capture that. And that's how it is. I'm just capturing it in real time, almost like a photograph, and I really think that it's much better to make music in the moment of the party and then distribute it into society, to basically bring the vibe of the party and the festival, whatever, into society, instead of the other way around, where you like might be in your bedroom for a month crafting each note, trying to get it perfect, and then you go to the stage and perform. It's about which way is the energy flowing. Is it flowing from this, there's a whole lot of nuance. Of course, it can be good both ways or bad both ways, but I think that there's a lot to explore here, and a lot that could be beneficial for musicians, to get out of your bedroom, like go play some music, then give it to the people, you know what I mean? It can be so hard as a musician if you're just like working, 9 to 5, and then you have to go write songs, and like, it's just like the fun can drain out of it quickly. And especially when there's like, it's very, very difficult to make money in music too. Yeah. Anyways, that is Adventures of Goop. What I would say about listening to this album is like, I think, how long is it? 8 hours long. Just start it. Just start a song. And if you aren't feeling it, just skip to the next song, and like, just wait until you find a groove that you like. Let it play out. Enjoy your listening, and then if if you start to get bored or whatever, just skip to the next song. And I think that's what's nice about this album, is it's so long. You can just skip around and get lost in little moments, and then come back to it another time, and maybe different songs will stand out to you in like different moments. So it's really an album I think you could explore for a long time, and I know I like listening back and imagining the moments where I was performing, and like all the titles are, I thoughtfully came up with them, to reflect what was going on at that time, and like sort of the Goop lore. It's all kind of like goopy, mystical stuff. Adventures of Goop. Anyways, I am sure that I rambled a lot, and this video is not perfect, but that's the story of how I made a 68 song album, and I hope you listen to it, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks.